Hello, welcome to Streamlining Your Service Department and Bolstering Your Bottom Line with Sage Service Operations for Sage 100 Contractor. This is Vincent Pate. I'm a sales engineer here at Sage Construction and Real Estate. And today we're going to go ahead and talk about how we can do all that. Today, before we get started here, is we're going to have a little bit of a slideshow talking about some of the reason why we're looking at this product and some of the things we can help with. Then we'll actually show a demo of it, go through through what's going on in the software there, and at the end, have some time for some Q&A to really go through some of those questions that people might be having. So move this forward here and talk about some of the common concerns that service and specialty contractors have. So every business has challenges. And I want to know, are you experiencing any of these things up on the screen here? According to some of our customers, their top concerns that we run into is that office staff might be spending many hours or days entering manual work order the system after they've been done out in the field. And able to get the real-time data in the field because they are working off of paper and given to them either in the morning or the day before, and any new information that comes through may not have been filtered through to them. So easily missed in the field when quotes are written down on a piece of paper or not written down at all and just verbally given. And we have inefficient dispatching, mostly because everyone has to meet up in the morning to get their list of where they're going. Site or into the service department's profitability can be a concern that people run into, and of course there's increased competition and the demand for better, faster customer service. Technicians don't have the information or parts, they stop work or call you. What this site refers to is that when a technician gets out to a site and there's information that they weren't aware, or there are parts that they weren't aware that they needed, it'll stop the work. And if they can, they'll call the office and get the information. But if there's a long wait time, this could potentially lead to get to the work they need and maybe missing a call for that day. So we want more efficient with our technicians when they go out and do this work. As simple as giving our technicians the ability to see all the information out in the field without having to make a phone call. Of all the paper that go around in the office and to the field. Right, firms are going green today or simply just need a better way to deal with all the work orders that they're getting. So example that I've run into, if you're a service company with 10 technicians, and we'll assume each technician performs about 3 calls a day, 5 days a week. That's 150 work orders per week that typically are needing to be filled out, as most of these are coming in triplicate. And if you're in triplicate, that's going to probably end up bringing it up to about 450 different individual pieces of paper that you have to manage each and every single week. Company with 10 technicians, if we're looking at a larger company with 50 more technicians, that number could easily jump over to 2,000 pieces of paper a week, and that's just the work orders. Many of you also require additional forms to be filled out in the field, like preventive maintenance checklists or safety checklists. These forms are expensive at up to 50 cents each, but demand a lot of storage and create a ton of paper waste as we go through. Under Contractor gives you all the foundation all of your accounting system, and because we have that, we also want to be able to bridge the gap over to the cloud field with a cloud product such as Sage Service Operations. Sage acts as the backbone of your financials. We want to make sure we can get that efficiencies that your Sage 100 contractors bring you and make those available for your dispatching, for your employees to enter in all their work orders, and also to capture all their time and payroll information as well. So where does Service Operations fit into all this? Sage Service Operations is a cloud-based service management solution, and it integrates with Sage 100 and Sage 300. Today we'll be specifically talking about the 100 contractor side. And the Operations, or SSO as we sometimes call it, is a browser-based product supported on most mobile platforms, including Android, Windows, and Apple iOS. as well into a technician piece, and we can also have people back at the office even use it for dispatching and information of that nature. With our Sage Service Operations for technicians, which is going to be the majority of what we'll speak to today, what that does is it's going to bridge a gap between the technician and the office support staff by bringing improved service management processes to the field. The core function provides field service automation for work order processing, access service site history, sales opportunity creation or quoting, and purchase order creation as well, and real-time scheduling updates. So we're talking about some of the typical we'll see in the office or see out in the field as we go through this. I'm going to bring up the software in just a second, and we'll go through one of those workflows. Specifically, if we have one that came from a quote that then gets turned into a work order where the technician can then see all the information they need from there. The technician can then go to the site, fill out all the work that they need, send the information to the warehouse manager if they need to, and of course have that all sync back with Sage 100 Contractor. So let's go to the product and take a look at it right now. So Sage Operations, most of your technicians are going to be living in this screen here or in the work orders themselves. This is going to be, it's called their assigned work orders, but a lot of people can think of this also as their time card. We'll go through, but note as today is Wednesday, I can see like I'm supposed to be out at this hotel, Inc., and do the work there. The work is that their power is out, and I need to go take care of that. So as a tech, you can see this information, jump in and start doing this work order. Have your dispatcher log into the site as well, and we have a dispatch board available out in the cloud. Dispatch board will allow you to quickly see where all your technicians are supposed to be going, as well as being able to actually create new work orders and dispatch them out and move forward with a live map and a list of all the work orders. This allows us to take some information, perhaps this, actually let's go back to this service and on-site generator here from Lamb Shoes the other day. I can close and actually make it something to where my technician would be coming out and do that work. Also create new work orders from the cloud here as well as we go forward. I'm going to go over to the Assignments tab here. When I go back to my Assignments page here, my shoes that I had clicked and dragged through my dispatch board is now available to me today. Now, with this, let's go through a workflow of a technician actually getting a call after hours and having to go out and do the work. So it's very flexible in that you can give certain preferred technicians the ability to create their own work orders if they have the security access to do so. Don't have it, then they would just be working off what the dispatcher gives them. But in this case, let's say that our Hotel Inc. here is something that they need to work on, and maybe the Lamb Shoes, but I'm going to also go ahead and start a new work order here. Sage 100 Contractor database and see where we're going to pull from. So say they're going to go out and do some work at a particular client, and let's go ahead and find a client that they can do. City here. So if I'm going to work at the City of Modesto, I can start typing in any part of that service site that is appropriate. If I type in city, you'll see a couple options. And if you're a Starbucks or a Walmart or anything that's going to have lots and lots of different S's, we can type in any really order to kind of pick the appropriate one. This in Barstow, let's just say City Modesto name, and again, we can grab it in any way that is appropriate for us. When I go ahead and select it, put in that information, I can put in any jobs that are related to it, what type of service am I working, perhaps this is HVAC, and emergency work, it's going to take me 2 hours or 3 hours, and the issue is the AC is out. I can just order right from the cloud, and not is it going to be adding it to this site that I can come and do the work, but if I open up Sage 100 Contractor, bring in my work orders here, you'll see in Modesto here, AC is out has been created as a work order in the system automatically. So we have access back to our Sage 100 data as we go and create our work orders and we do our work. If to talk about that technician being able to see what's going on in the field before they even get out there. They can always click on the service site, let's say Hotel Inc. or our Triad Hotel, which I have a lot of work on, that actually see the service history that has gone through here. And we'll go ahead and pull it up. Once I'll see my client, Hotel Inc., I can see what jobs they're part of, a little map here. I can also see all the individual work orders. So before I get out in the site, I, as a technician, will know that in this case, the power's out today. That's what the current work order is. But we also did some landscape work. We did a replacement on something. I can always drill down to find out that. Some flooding, power out, roof leaking. In this case, I can see the power's gone out twice here in the last 2 months. And I might check my work or make sure I have all the appropriate parts. If the power continuously goes out at this site, there might be a generator issue. But I can see that right away before I get out there and be surprised about what I hear. To call at the office to find out any of this information either. If we equipment there, such as an air conditioner or compressor or generator, we can see that information here as well based on that. And the outstanding quotes that have been given. Our system is able to track any type of potential sales leads that we have in here, such as, while I was out there working on the power generation, maybe their heaters, their AC is also out and they need to be replaced. And we create a quote right from there and track it back. And I can see when I come out there and make a mention, hey, I noticed your fan on the AC was broken and we quoted it to you. Is that something you want me to look at today? Who the contacts are, the service contracts, and then any content, any pictures that have been taken as you did work out there. So it's available to us as a technician. So go to do the work order. Let's go ahead and jump into work order 80 here. And all my work and everything that I used to do by paper can now be replaced with doing cloud on my tablet. So in many cases, I'll be using my iPhone or Android tablet here. I'd pull up my work order, and I can travel start if I'm capturing my time traveling there, or I can just go ahead and say I'm starting this assignment. This will notify the dispatcher that I'm starting the work. We do geo-stamp whenever you do travel, assignment start, or an assignment complete. To allow your office staff to know exactly where they were when they were clicking these buttons, in case I need to track down and say, hey, it says you were here at a Starbucks when you completed the work, as opposed to actually at the job site when you're doing that. We start the work, then go ahead and start putting all of our notes, all of our labored parts that we normally do on those pieces of paper. We're going to be doing that on a tablet and be completely paperless. So in this case, go ahead and start typing my notes, either internal or customer viewable. And I have some of my notes be pre-up, such as this reset breaker option, where I'll automatically put in the company verbiage of saying reset breaker, including all checks, wires, bulbs, and fuses, and a stress test. I can also say reset generator as well, or whatever other notes that I might be appropriate for the customer to see. I could say got done after hours, and email dispatcher and let them know, or my service manager to let them know these notes are in the system. So my manager in this case will receive an email saying, here's the customer's notes I sent, here's my notes that I put in. And as I submit these notes as well, these are also being put directly into Sage 100 Contractor, so there's no need to re-enter them into that system once we get there. I can and I can go ahead and tell it, here's me. I might even have a crew member or an assistant with me as well that I can put in theirs. And we're going to go and say I work 3 hours on a particular cost code, and I'm going to bill for that same amount as well. We can also in together as well if you prefer one single that is both bill and labor, or we can split them as you see today. A lot of flexibility on how we can set those up in the system. But this 3 hours. Behind the scenes as well, we're plugging in the 3 cost code hours to my payroll, and we'll come back and around that when we discuss the payroll piece of this. Because again, it is handling multiple things at once, payroll and billing in one single click. Pull parts right from assemblies or from inventory parts. So to my assemblies and start typing, I believe I have a harness in there, or it might be a wiring harness in my database to find out exactly what we want to pull from there in terms of assemblies. Let's just go ahead and take a quick example at the database. We're going to put in this case concrete block. So I'll just type in concrete. I know concrete block doesn't make a whole lot of sense for the working out, but I might go ahead and put that in. So just pulling right from my assemblies and adding that information in. If I'm tying it to an equipment, I can, and I can see that assembly, and it'll bring that in and all its related items to be built on this work order. One thing, if you do any warranty work in the system, we can tie it to your warranty work as well, so that you can cost in the system, but you're not necessarily going to bill for it because you have already a certain warranty billing that you go through, or preventive maintenance that we want to tie it to. That's all is something we can do there. Miscellaneous or inventory items as well. And to the point where you need to go purchase something, we can add a purchase order right from the field here as well. Again, that you've been given security access to by your company, and you're to create a PO, which will, in Sage 100 Contractor, show up in the 661 screen. And so I can vendor, whoever's appropriate here. Let's go ahead. I'm going to give it a. I'm going to go ahead and say I'm buying this from General Electrical Subcontract, and description being compressor items. Your technician would just put in this very brief information and then take a picture of the receipt and tie it to the work order, because in many cases your accounts payable department may not want your technician to spend 5 minutes just going through and adding every single line item to the purchase order. It's a lot simpler and easier in many cases that they can just take the picture of the receipt. That'll then flow back over to the accounts payable department. They'll open up the work order and actually fill that all out. But if you want to add parts or miscellaneous items here, you absolutely can write the class here. Let's get back into the work order here again. I can go ahead and take that picture and attach it here through our Content tab. Content tab, when you bring it up, will allow you to access the camera or your camera roll right from your tablet. And so I'm going to add my attachment right here and then upload. Being that I'm up, I can do a multi-file or single file upload. But again, if you're on a tablet, this is going to be pulling up your camera or your camera roll, so you can take those pictures again. Put your seat on there, or take before pictures as we go through this. We want to make sure any and all content and can be available right there from the cloud. Report section, the ability to do any type of normal reporting that you would do, safety checklist, payment forms, device listings, and we have a very, very easy to use report designer in the system. I threw 2 varies on there because truly of all the softwares I've ever seen with a report designer, this has got the simplest one. You kind of tell it, I want these types of fields. I want on the work order field, I want to bring in the work order. I want the address. I want a checklist. I want a drop down. I want a signature caption. I want an emailer, whatever those things might be, and then just click on each one and change the verbiage of what it says. So I have a checklist for safety. I have my drop down with my different options. I can sign it off, submit it, and now I have a safety checklist in the system. I can make this a requirement where I can't complete the work order until the safety checklist is done. You can set type of work as well, so that if you have a different checklist for warranty work, or if you have a different safety checklist for electrical versus HVAC versus landscaping, any type of piece could have a different checklist that you set up, and you can even do it on the client level as well. Any of those reports are then saved here on the attachments automatically for you. And when done, let's go ahead and complete this assignment. I could direct send my exact time as a punch-in, punch-out to payroll. Most people end up using the time right out of the labor so that they don't have to worry about tracking if their employees are clicking all the buttons at the exact time, but we can do it in either manner. I'm going to order ticket here and be available to hand to my customer. Because tablets, you can bring it up, you can file the information as the technician, say, okay, here's the work performed, here's where I did it, here's my start and end times, quantity of labor I'm billing for, as well as all my parts and assemblies. Then you can head over to the customer and say, please fill this out. Any comments you have, give me your email address and we'll email this to you. Have your customer sign it. We can even have your own company agreement show up on this page as well. Once they accept this, it creates a PDF document that's emailed to your billing department probably at that point as well. So notification that everything's done. And behind, we always have that recourse if anyone ever says that something didn't happen or get taken care of. And that's saved here as an attachment. This is a good idea to have it email back to your billing person. If I go and bring this work order back up here in Sage 100 Contractor, you'll immediately see that the labor hours I put in there is in the system, as well as the assembly and all the appropriate parts. So if our billing department received that email, I can take a look here, see all the notes that have been put into the system. I can see what's been billed out and what parts are. I can make any corrections to pricing. Oh, you know what? We actually do $125 an hour for that. Let me update that. So we'll go ahead and save this and actually bill this out immediately. So no double entry, no waiting till the next day to get the paperwork. It's all in the system immediately. I, as the billing department, can verify the information, update any amounts to, and build out that same day. If I need to pull up that ticket as well and see the attachments, such as the service report, it's to me right here as well. So I can look up that PDF document and see it right from my Sage 100 Contractor, and I don't even have to worry about going into the cloud to access it. Hopefully saving your department lots of time, and at the end of the day, being more profitable just for that fact. Speaking of productivity, it's always nice to be able to create quotes as well. So a technician, if they have the ability to create a quote right from the work order ticket, I can say new quote. So in this case, where I was working on the power is out in the generator, I also noticed we need a new AC unit. It has stopped working after I turned the power on. It's just dead. So I'm here, a new AC unit needed. In the back, here as appropriate. I can tell it what location. This is at their Triad Hotel location. The equipment would be the air conditioner. I can put any other parts and descriptions. I can email whoever is appropriate for this to let them know. On the general tab, I can tell it I think this is going to take 3 hours to do, and go ahead and save this quote. At this, emailed off to whoever is appropriate to know about this quote, and somebody can then come back into the system, and I use the word somebody deliberately. It could easily be the department, service billing department person can log into the cloud and fill out the rest of this, or if the technician happens to also be a sales guy, he can come in and fill out the rest. But what we find is the technician puts in the very brief information that we just put there. If someone at the office, they then log in and they can put in, okay, what of our parts that are in here? Well, we'll need the AC unit itself. The AC unit's going to be, 8 hours, but we're going to mark that up 25%. Or just did that as one AC unit at $800, and we're going to mark that up 25%. So we'll add that item in there. And then if we have any miscellaneous or inventory parts we want to add, or content with pictures, we can do all those. And then we can view the quote and make sure that we're being profitable before we actually send this off. Looking here, I can see that we have the AC units marked up $1,000. But it looks like my rate tables are off because I have my labor set for $50 an hour that it's going to cost. We actually don't have a sale price. So I get my rate tables, and it'll catch any mistakes before, because again, I don't want to email this off and have that being an issue. Back over and take care of that. Go ahead and do the print view real quick, and we'll just assume this has been taken care of already. Here's the information. I can show the quantities, the unit prices, and totals, or be mine showing just the total. We can absolutely remove columns that we're not going to need anymore and just have here's our total and here's our price. And I can PDF document and send that over to them. And that'll be whoever is appropriate at the customer site and logged in our system so that everyone has this in there. And if we get a call back from the customer saying, yes, please go ahead and go with quote number 59, we want to send someone out there, we can bring up the quote, edit it, and turn it into a work order without having to re-enter all the information into the system. Piece on the employees here, we talked about how time goes into payroll. This is their time card as well. So that 3 hours I did here at Hotel Link is marked as 3 hours irregular. We can have any type of time, whether it be service time, construction time, sick, vacation, as we have on Monday and Tuesday. And every week, after they've put in all their time, we can then have a technician mark down everything's complete and accurate, put village, put a note such as took all breaks and lunch hours so that our supervisor can then verify that time and make any corrections as needed. Time is automatically put into our payroll time so that you can always verify it and run committed cost reports to see all of it as it comes through the system. Talk about jobs briefly. We have the ability to do daily field reports from this site as well, and this will also be able to track all of our construction labor times as we go through. So if I'm doing any work at Williams Post Office, this is a pure construction job outside of the service range, I can here do a daily report, and this will add it to the daily field report screen in Sage 100 Contractor. So coming for today, our weather is 85 degrees. And guys, any of our user-defined fields we normally have in Sage 100 Contractor filled through here as well. We generate a field report, and here's where we can put all of our equipment that we used, our material used, who showed up at the site, and importantly, what labor was. So notes for those notes, and we can start putting in our labor. So in this case, if we had myself and maybe a couple crew members, my supervisor, and we all worked on demolition today at the site for 3 hours, we can put to the proper cost codes to the amount, and the whole crew can be added in for this. And again, this will all go flow into payroll at the end of the day as well. Materials, as I kind of put out earlier, but also your daily walkthroughs as well. So we have subcontracts, all the instances in daily payroll or daily field reports, and then walkthroughs content. Pull up on your tablet and take the pictures of the walkthrough of your construction. We report and eat off to everyone as a PDF at the end of the day. Assignments, you'll see that right there on my time card as well, showing that today I worked 3 hours of construction work at Williams Post Office. I get different pieces for time there. I have a couple more slides, and we'll actually get into some Q&A at this point. So let's go back to the slides here. Ahead here because I wrote there a couple minutes ago. Discuss, have one quote that we had gotten from one of our large customers, Modern Niagara, and said previously our technicians often placed several calls back to the office to get details about the customer, the building, the service request, or the equipment. And solutions puts all the information in their hands and reduced the administrative burden and enabled everyone to be more productive. Here's some contact information going forward, but let's go ahead and open the lines up here for some Q&A. If you have any questions, *6 can unmute your line to ask them. And throw them into chat or Q&A, I'll be able to answer any questions you guys might have about the product. That's fine too. You can always email me, vincent.pate@sage.com, and I can any information you need. I will be sending this recording out to everyone by the end of the day as well. And you can also talk to your Sage Business Partner or the 800-858-7095, and that'll put you over to your Sage account manager. I will give you guys back some time, but I do see a question that just popped through here. Can you also do subcontracts? Have you go in *6 and unmute line. If you could kind of give me a little background of what you're trying to do with subcontracts on here, just so I can make sure I understand your question.
Sorry. So we are more of a remodeler, and so we have contractors that may be doing pieces of the work. And where you can put in purchase orders, but could you also enter subcontract or at least get a quote from a contractor of to fix this a little piece would be $200. Software? No.
Can't do that in here, but I will point out the software is really designed for the technician who's out doing a service work out on the field. So they're already out there, and the reason they're doing the purchase order is they're missing some parts and be able to pick those up and add them to the work order. Typically, if you're going to be having a subcontract come out and do the work, then you probably setting it up ahead of time, and it wouldn't even be getting to this point in the system. No to that, but there's some pretty good reasons why we didn't go that route.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Someone also asked, does this replace the service receivables module in Sage 100 Contractor? It does not. It augments it, is the answer to that. Service receivables is required as kind of the backbone of it. It's the piece that does the billing. It's the piece that tracks what's going on. And what the Sage Service Operations does is it then just takes that information that's in Sage 100 Contractor currently and makes it available out in the cloud so your field reps can go out and do their work without having to worry about the paper, without having to worry about sending it back. Great question. All right. Recording here, and for attention.